Hello everyone, I am Nu-Trix and today we're talking about a new synthesizer software from Cherry Audio. It's called the CAT from Octave. It's actually a recreation of the original the CAT from Octave from 1976, which was at the time a very affordable yet very powerful portable synthesizer in the 70s. Most portable synthesizer cost an arm and a leg, or not to say a small home. But this was priced just around $600 at the time, which was amazingly cheap for what it was. And yet it was complete enough to create complex sounds. So we have a duophonic synthesizer, monophonic or duophonic, so you can play two notes and you can control the two oscillators separately if needed. Now, which is interesting is that Cherry Audio went to see the founder and creator of the original CAT and said, we want to do this. He participated into making this software possible and making that as close as possible as the original. Now, I don't have the original. I never played one, so I cannot compare to see if this one is close to it or not. I've got a lighting problem. Not a problem. So, whatever. Where was I? Yes, this video is about a guided tour of the synthesis of the Octave the CAT synth. I did another video where I just play the presets so you have ideas of what they can do sound-wise, but let's actually jump in and see what it does, the limits and the structure. Okay, we have a two-screen software, this one and this one. The main, which is the synthesizer, the effect and sequencer, which represent new stuff. So the effects are something that was not part of the original synthesizer, nor that the sequencer was part of it. That section here, which is the sequencer. And you have the top section, which is the effects that Cherry Audio added. And just to be clear, Cherry Audio has been doing really good effects for a long time. At least all the stuff that I have from them sounds really nice. So they're going to be interesting also to use. And they have the galactic reverb. So if you want a real big space that sounds smooth, you've got it there. And besides the keyboard, you have these controls about, do you want it to be monophonic, duophonic, polyphonic? So of course, now, because it's a software, and let's not limit ourselves to just doing monophonic and duophonic. Let's just open it up to polyphonic full. And then you get from 2 to 16 polyphonic notes. So you can really open up the box if you want to. And if you decide to go in unison, you can select how much detune you want the other notes to detune. And you can add 8 notes of, so again, with this, you go way, way above what the original box was doing, because it was not able to do unison of 8 voice, was not possible. The modulator on this section, so we've got transient generators, so the envelope, ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, and release. Velocity to control it. Do you want it to be gated? Do you want it to be off? So you want it to be repeated or not? AR, so attack, release, and the velocity to control it. You have a sample and hold, so which is interesting because this one is a little bit more complex than what you used to have. You have a glider and you have a choice of source. Usually it's the noise by default that goes into it, but now you got the noise, you got the VCO2, VCO1. So you can use VCOs to be part of the sample and hold path if you want. At the bottom, you've got the bend depth for the pitch bend. You've got the octave shift, so you can actually change the pitch of the entire keyboard, and you can control the glide. Okay, so quick access to all this. This one is the LFO. So you have the LFO delay, so how much I'm going to take before it actually comes in. So let's say you want to use it for doing tremolo or vibrato, and you only want it when you get to the sustain of, let's say, a violin sound. Then you could say, I want to delay the LFO until I get past the attack and into the sustain, and then I want it to appear. So you would have to match the delay of the LFO to about your decay of your envelope. So that would be kind of why you would use this. You've got the frequency, so the speed of it. Actually, I don't have anything attached to it. And if you click on sync, the value will become musical values, basically, rhythm values here. Section of the VCO1, section of the VCO2, section of the VCF, and the VCA and the master, there's a limiter on it. Well, the VCO1 is one oscillator, but it has multiple shapes, and you have a volume control over all of them. So as you play it, I'm going to bring this down. As you play it, you can say, I want to hear more of the triangular shape, or I want to hear more of the sawtooth, less of the triangular, or more of the square. Bring that down, and then the square you can change the pulse width. Oh, I want to have a sub, you add the sub, and then you can just basically play with it until you have the content that you like. And that's, I'm going to bring that glide down. And again, we got coarse tuning. Okay. You got fine tuning. You have control over the modulation for this. So if you want this to be modulated by, let's say, you want to create a vibrato. You don't want it right away. Let time you. So that's the delay for the vibrato in that case. And then this one would be for the pitch, but controlled by the envelope. So if you have this envelope, you would have something like, let's say, bring that down. So why, if you want to, but it's here. Second one has a square that is not pulse width modulated. You have a sawtooth, you get a sub. Real nice round sound to it. And again, this one you can fine tune it, but you cannot coarse tune it because it's basically following the same as the first one. You have here, this is sources of modulation to control the pitch. Again. And same thing with here. But now you have something else. You got the VCO1. Here you have the VCO2. So you can have the VCO1 modulates VCO2. So it becomes basically, I'm going to turn this one up and down. It becomes, let's say we take this one. FM modulation. Now, the notion of having this changing pitch now becomes, you hear the pitch, but you also hear it going into this. I want to have a sync. Now we just have that modulation here happening, which is the sync modulation. So the sync is doing this really cool thing here. Okay, you have the VCF. You can close the filter. You have the Q of the resonance. Now if you wanted to open and close with this one. Oh yeah, because if you use this one, this is release. But if you could like that. So this is release, this is not sustain. Whereas this one, if you switch it to this one, if you hold it, you go to sustain, if you release, go into the next part. And let's say I use this. I've got the sequencer playing. If you put it to minimum, it's going to be 0. It's going to be off. And the amount of voltage sent to this depends on voltage. 1 volt, 2 volt, 5 volt. So So basically, I'm going to stop it for now. If you put it at 5 volt, you see that now the maximum is going to be C7. Put a 2 volt, maximum is going to be C4, and 1 volt is going to be C3, like on an analog synthesizer. So what's interesting now is you can actually say, okay, 2 volts, send this, okay? Now it's sending to VCO 1 and 2. I'm going to go back here and turn off the sync so we hear the two separately. So here are the two separately, and they play two notes when this one is playing this one. This one is not being controlled by this. So now they're playing the same. But if I say the second one here under it, it's going to be controlling the second one. Two playing at the same time. And this one is also controlling the VCF. So I could go back here and bring the VCF a little bit down. This one is also. Now this one's controlling volume. Let's say the volume is going to be down here. So you can do bizarre stuff with it. The other way around, inverse the control. And then you can add fuzz, phaser, chorus, echo, and big, galactic. That's it. In a nutshell, that's a quick tour of what it can do. If it fits your bill, go ahead, play with it. I personally like the sound of the VCOs that you have in this. I'm not sure about the sync. It's not the sound that I look for, but then again, anything you play with, at one point you understand how to make something really cool with it. The filter is nice. The fact that you've got the duo step sequencer is really cool. And I have something similar. I've got the hardware from Korg. It's a dual step sequencer. So it's something that I'm actually playing with right now. And I find this really interesting that you can find this right into this box. So that's it. Stay safe, make more music, and see you soon. Cheers.